name's Kate Kalthoff and welcome to a Stamping to Share video. Today I'm going to share with you how to recreate this floral phrases card. We're using the stamp set called Floral Phrases. Now the stamp set can be purchased on its own, or you can purchase it with the detailed floral thinlet dies that coordinates with it. If you choose to do that, you'll save 10% on both the dies and the stamp set. So that's always kind of an incentive when you're making a purchase decision with Stampin' Up! The thing that I'm going to show you today, though, that I'm most excited about, notice all the speckling on this paper. I'm going to show you how to create this beautiful speckling on your papers, and the inside panel is speckled as well. I love that look. Stampin' Up! Used to carry kind of a speckled white paper. They no longer do, so I'm going to teach you how you can recreate that look with your aqua pen along with some re-inker. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you're going to need to recreate these backgrounds are two panels of Whisper White paper. These are cut, both of them, at 4 by 5 1/4. And then I'm going to get the lid of a couple of shoe boxes. And we're just going to go ahead and put these papers right down here in this lid of a shoebox. I've got the second lid right here, and I'm just going to set that up against there so that when I'm splashing my background papers, I don't end up splashing all over my work surface. So here are the two Whisper White panels that I'll be working with. And what I do is I just open up my rich raspberry ink so that I've exposed the base of the ink pad, and I'm going to go ahead and just take some rich raspberry ink refill and just put this down right here in the base of my ink pad. And so then what I do is I'm going to take my rather large tipped aqua painter, and there's no water in this, but the end is wet because I was playing with it and I rinsed it out, and it does work better if the end is wet, but you don't want it too saturated. So I wet the end, I dried it with a paper towel, and now I'm just picking up the ink from the re-inker, and then I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to get a block into the picture. So this is a block D. You can use any block or any firm surface that you want, and then you're just going to tap that. Look at that, it's already putting the really beautiful little tiny dots on there. You're just going to tap your aqua painter against a hard surface, in this case my block D. So we're going to do that on both of them. And if we want, we can pick up a little bit more, do a little more tapping, get some bigger pieces in there, and I think that looks about perfect. The key is to know when to stop. It's very difficult to know when to stop because it's so much fun. You just want to keep doing it. Then what we have to do is we have to give this a little bit of time to dry. So I'm going to set this aside for a minute, and then I will be back. All right, so I think our papers are dry, so we're going to go ahead and pick those up, and then we'll just remove the lids here, the shoebox lids, from the stamping area. So now what we have to do is just decide what we want as our inside panel and as our outside panel. So I think I'm going to go with this one for my outside panel, and this will be my inside panel. So I'm going to take my sentiment, "For all the thoughtful things you do," and I'm just going to stamp this right here, and my inside panel is complete. And so that is what that looks like. Look at that beautiful paper. So now we are going to put that on the inside panel of our card, and we are using a piece of rich raspberry cardstock. I've cut it at 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. So now I'm just going to fold this towards the score line, move these out of the way here a second, give it a good press, and then we can go ahead and we'll just take this, add a little bit of snail to the back, and our inside panel is complete. We'll just center this in and give it a little bit of a press, and we're ready to work now on the other panel for the outside of the card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pop of pink washi tape, and I'm going to take this pink one right here. I love that color. And we are going to coordinate our stamping with this Melon Mambo color. So I'm just pressing it on here, and I am burnishing it down, and then we're going to lift it up, and we can go ahead and just cut this off, and we'll just take the ends and put them to the inside of the card. So there we go. So the ends are like this, and this is our outside panel. So now what we need to do is ink up that floral image from Floral Phrases, and we're going to stamp it right here. And then, so that's first generation. Then we're going to flip our paper around and we're going to stamp a second generation right like this. Beautiful. So there is our first and second generation. It's just gorgeous. And now what we want to do is stamp the sentiment. And so I'm going to ink that up with Rich Razzleberry. I just have a piece of scrap paper that I'm stamping that on. So it's a special note of thanks to you. I'm stamping it up here pretty high. And we are going to cut that out with the scissors. We're just going to hand cut it. So we're going to do a special note. So I'm going to cut that right here after the word note. And then we're going to cut this off like this. And then we're just going to trim it nice and close. So now we are going to take a marker. We're going to use a Rich Razzleberry marker, and we're going to draw a line here just to differentiate between the two, make it kind of like a water line. And we're going to set our ruler right here where those two images come together. And then I'm going to take the wide end of my marker, and again this is a Rich Razzleberry marker, and we're just going to draw out a line between those two images. Just kind of anchors our photo a little bit. Doesn't that look neat? Let me bring this up nice and close to the camera so you can see how cool that looks. That's just so much fun. I love it. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put these words onto our card. And again, I love that kind of organic feeling that we get from hand trimming that sentiment. Since we have these long, skinny little sentiments, I'm going to just go ahead and take a piece of dimensional that is all used up except for the edges. I'm going to put these little edge trimmings onto our long, skinny strips here. So there's one, and then here's a little bit longer one for that little bit longer piece of the sentiment. And then we're just going to set those onto our card. It's just so easy. So the first one is going to be set just a little bit above that line that we marked, and we want to make sure that's in the center. So in order to see what I'm doing, I like to take a paper piercing tool, and I'm just going to attach this to my paper piercing tool like this, and then I don't have my fingers in there so that I can make sure that I get accurate placement exactly where I want this. So there's where a special note is going. So then I can take my second one, and we're going to scoot that up right underneath a special note. Make sure that's fairly even under there. And we have our sentiment put onto our card. I just love it. Then all we need to do is add some accents. So to accent this card, I took some Blushing Bride sequins and I put them on glue dots. So let me show you what that looks like. I just went ahead and took 3 of the sequins and put them on glue dots. And we're just going to scatter these around on our card. So we're going to put one here, and then we're going to put another one right about here, and then one more right up here. Isn't that cute? Now this would be fine just to leave it as is, but I thought it would be even cuter to accent these sequins with a little tiny rhinestones. We're going to take one of the small rhinestones that comes in our basic rhinestone pack, or we're going to accent each one of those sequins with a rhinestone. So we're ready to go ahead and put this onto the front panel of our card. So I'm going to again just do that with snail. I'm going to put some snail at the top, the bottom, and at the sides, and then we can just go ahead and set this right onto our card. So we're just centering it so all of the sides are even. And our card is now complete. So here's the card we just did, and here is the card I had done in advance. So I truly hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. It was a lot of fun to make this speckly background with you. And of course, every background is going to be different. The brush that I used in the first card was a little bit wetter, so I got some bigger marks. And then the brush that I used today wasn't quite as wet, so I didn't get quite as big of marks as I did when I made my original card. But that's the beauty of creating your background papers. Everyone's going to be just a little bit different. So have a great day, and thank you again for stopping by. If you need to place a product order, or you need a demonstrator, or you need a catalog, please contact me by going to my blog at www.stampingtoshare.com, and I also have links there for you to place product orders. Bye-bye.